Hey, flooring pros. I'm Jerry Levinson, and this is the Flooring Business Podcast, where we talk to expert flooring dealers, suppliers, marketing experts, and software experts, and anyone who I believe is going to help you in your flooring business. Now, my mission is to give you good information that'll help you reach your goals. If you're just starting your business, or you're trying to reach $5 million in sales, or you're getting ready to sell your business, you're going to find useful information that'll help you reach your goals and profit now in the flooring industry. The Flooring Business Podcast is brought to you by Ring Ring Marketing. Go to ringringmarketing.com and request a free analysis of your website, your area, and your scope of work. They'll make recommendations on how to best strategize your marketing efforts so you get the best return on your investment. You'll even get a coach that helps you get better results. All right, guys. So today I have on, you guys all know, love Roland. I want to call you Ronald. Roland Thompson.
No, Roland is right.
Roland?
Yeah, that's how I really pronounce. Roland is wrong.
Oh, Roland is wrong. Roland from Roland, Mississippi. No, it's from Frederick, Maryland. So you've been in. He's best known for you installed the very first carpet job ever, right?
Yeah, so there I get accused of. Yes,
Yeah.
I've been told I put the floor in the ark. I've been told I put the carpet in Lincoln's bedroom in the White House with him in it. So yeah, and I keep telling him no, he wasn't in it that day, but because I have worked there, just.
What's really cool is you've really done the gamut of it between the installation and you have your retail business. When did you open up your retail flooring business?
I opened up in really the beginning of 2018.
Now, I haven't interviewed you about that. I need to talk to you just about the business of flooring. We've talked about installation. Today, we're going to be talking about CTI, installer training, and some things we can do within the industry. But
you got the wrong alphabet. CFI. CTI is ceramic tile installers. They're part of the CTEF, Certified Tile Education Foundation.
Yeah.
So you gotta get your acronyms right.
I think we all tend to avoid these organizations because they remind us of the IRS. So
that's it.
When you got that alphabet group, and that's what we want to talk about today. It's partially of what does the organization do, who is it for, and a little bit about the organization and why don't they do a better job promoting their brand, what they do, and how they benefit. One thing before the call, you mentioned NWFA, and I got involved with them. I'll be speaking at their next convention. And as I learned more about them, even guys like Matt Garcia, I've never done wood flooring, and I've worked with a lot of wood flooring experts in consulting them and how to run the marketing and sales side of their business. But there are so many benefits that NWFA offer. And a guy like Matt Garcia has been in the wood flooring industry his whole life, but didn't discover NWFA and its benefits until 5 years ago. So you can go throughout this industry and know nothing about some of these organizations that are out there.
Well, see, I'll say yes and no on that. It all depends on how much you're involved. I've known about the organizations even before I got involved with them. Mm-hmm. And as an installer, you can stay in your local area and install and do and be a happy life and be happy with your doing. A lot of people don't realize I didn't get certified with CFI until 2002. A lot of them think I'm one of the guys from the beginning, and I'm not. They came through my area the first couple times. And I looked at them and I thought, I don't need them. My business is good. I got a good business. I built a good one, but a good installation business. And I really didn't need them. And until I sat down and researched and seen what they were doing and what they stood for, and had some ideas that I thought they were doing wrong and wasn't doing right. And then, of course, I had an actual retailer say, well, Roland, you can't change things from the outside. You got to be inside to change things. And so that's what I did. Then I joined and I made enough noise and and they thought I had been there for years, but I hadn't. I just made enough noise.
And
So
the challenge is organizations like that need to realize that they need to be more vocal, more public, because you can't rely. I mean, if you're running your retail business, you can't just wait for people to discover you. You've got to market. Nobody's going to discover you on their own without you doing some type of marketing, even if that's referrals from people that have used you. So in just referrals alone isn't going to be something that's sustainable over a long period of time. Certainly for an organization like this.
well, up until the days that the internet, the Facebooks and the Facebook groups and
Yeah.
LinkedIn and Instagram and all them, days before that, it was very difficult for any organization to get things out there.
Right.
It was very hard, and so an installer, for them to find it, had to look for it. Nowadays it's still sort of the same thing. I mean, and that's where I think the misconnect is between everybody, and is with you guys, or is that the organizations, and I'll speak for CFI. I mean, in the last 3 years it started, and it's got more prominent every year afterwards, is that we are busy on Facebook and on all the different flooring sites and everything else. Not just me, I'm one of the ones that's on there a lot, but we have other people that's on there that makes a lot of noise. But we're not just on there. We're on LinkedIn. Everything we do gets put on LinkedIn. Everything the things we do gets put on Instagram. Now, I don't think we've embraced the TikTok as much. At least I haven't. But we're out there, and if somebody who's not seeing it or hear about us, then they're just not on the net, because we are everywhere.
I think the way you're showing up, at least in the group that I run, it's a flooring dealer group, which I think is one of the biggest for the retail flooring dealer. The other groups are larger that are for installers, but those get watered down with a lot of bad posts about, guys jawing back and forth at each other, and they don't have the appeal of the professionalism I think that we have, which is why I designed that group, is no swearing, and I want it to be more professional, and I want it to be more about the business of flooring, not the materials or the installation as much. And I think organization like CFI, this is interesting. Who would you say the target audience is for CFI? Are they going after the installer, or are they also going after the retailer? Because the retailer can be extremely supportive of the organization.
Correct. Now, back in the day, we had chapters, and they were pretty strong, and their job was to promote CFI to the installer, of course, locally, but also to the dealers locally. And as anything, it got aged out, and I've been running what's known as a Delmarva chapter for a lot of years, and I joined the Mid-Atlantic Floor Covering Association. I became their educational director, which deals with all the dealers in the area, which then got them to believe in what CFI and what we did. And if you go to any dealer in our area here, they're going to know who CFI is and what CFI stands for in this area, pretty much. And then they sort of faded out to a certain degree. There was only a couple of us chapters still in existence. But as you'll see, if you've been reading things, I've been tasked to get that back alive. And we actually this year have 10 back up and running. Well, we got 10 up and running, counting myself, and with the option of in talks with another, 6 to 10. So, we're the ones that held it up, and so CFI goes after, of course, the installer. I mean, they're first. It's run by, it was designed and built for installers by Jim and Jane Walker. for installers by installers. But we realize that dealers have to be involved there because they're the ones that still to this day, have a lot to say over top of the installers. So we need to market to them too, and that's why we're on LinkedIn now, and on the Instagram and on Facebook, and we're floating, more and more people are floating into the dealer's page. That's installers, and so we are going after them. Or again, it takes time for anything to get into effect. But there again, you said about you develop that for dealers. Well, a lot of installers say, "Oh, this is a dealer page. I'm not going to go on there. I'm not a dealer. It has nothing. That's nothing to do with me. Nothing to take care of me.
Right.
Just like you as a dealer go, oh, their installer group. That's really not going to help me any. So for when you put things on, like your thing you're putting on down in Florida, I know about it because I go on that page, and I get your stuff you post out and everything else. So I get that.
Yeah.
But if you really look at it, and I get all over the country, and I get into dealers' places, and so I deal with them, and I usually sit down with the dealer, and we get to talk, and we get to go over things. And by the same realms, a lot of them don't know who you are, and not being nasty.
Yeah.
Or not.
No, you're right. I get that. Yeah.
They don't know who you are, and if we talk about Ken with his getting out
Yeah.
Ken know best. He's active and he's out there, but he still only can reach so many people, and he's got to reach the people that scroll and seeing it. Because I actually had a good friend of mine call me 2 days ago when they started putting this out about taking over the national flooring trends for this month. He didn't know there was a Ken had a page there. Yeah. He said, "Did you know Ken has a AI?" I said, "Yeah, it's been out for a long time." And he goes, "I never knew it." So you can only do so much.
I tell you, we went to I go to surfaces, and I am fascinated that there's I would say the majority of people have no idea who the hell I am or the page that I run. Right. And one of the reasons I'm not on the installer page as much
is we don't do what you do.
Well, not necessarily, because I love talking to installers who convert to retailers, because most installers do at some point, they want to convert over to having a retail store when they're not capable of doing the installation anymore. And I love talking to those guys because I've developed full programs for them, because I understand how difficult it is to make that transition from installer to retailer, and how difficult it is to charge higher prices, and how difficult it is to trust other people to do something that you do better yourself. So I understand that transition, and I love talking to the installers and helping them out. I don't do it on their pages just out of respect. Like, I don't want people soliciting on the Flooring Dealer Forum. I don't go in there and post and solicit in those forums. I do in Tile Money, but I usually ask permission before I do post about the things like the class that I have coming up. And you want to know something funny? That the post I did, which I had his permission to do it, Facebook took it down. Said, "Oh, this looks like you're just trying to get clicks, or this looks like."
They had our town or county has best of the best thing every year, and but the first year I was in, my name wasn't brought up. But since 19, either I took first or second place. Took second place again this year, first last year. But part of it was every time I posted it, Facebook took it down, saying I was soliciting for likes and spam in the page for likes. Okay, I've been doing this now for 5 years, and now all of a sudden this is a spam. Okay,
yeah. So it's Big Brother. It's crazy, and it's scary too, because knowing that they can shut down any legitimate business thing that you're doing. But let's get back to the meat of it.
Sure.
And I'm not even sure what CFI does. So why don't you give me a commercial
Okay.
about what CFI
Yeah.
does and what's the
I'll,
benefits of it?
I'll talk a little bit about CFI, and I'm going to throw in NFIC there because that's natural fibers. It was started and founded by a guy named PJ Arthur, and it's strictly working basically with natural fibers of all types, and
Okay.
in the flooring industry. And CFI, PJ is still going to be running it for right now. He's older, and his health has been up and down, and CFI has acquired that. So now we have that organization into ours also. So everything we do is going to be coincided with what NFIC is doing. But CFI is actually it's for installers. I mean, it's for for when it first came out, it was for certification, pretty much. Taking the installers that are doing the job and everything, and sort of giving them the stamp of their career, saying, "Hey, this guy's good." And depending on what level he wants to go to, up to, he got different levels, and each level is a little harder and a little bit more elite to it. And so it's for installers. Like I said, any business needs to evolve, or any organization needs to evolve as they get older and get going. And so now our focus is still on the installer, but it's on install certification and training. So we're doing a lot of training out there. We also realized that the dealers needed some kind of training for installation. So we have a tech program that you could send your warehouse guy, your guy that goes out and does repairs, your salespeople, manager, or anything, and put them through a tech program. So basically, it doesn't say they can install. What it does is states that they understand what process it takes for that floor to be installed. So you can go in as to get a carpet tech or hardwood tech or resilient tech, laminate tech. So there's different what you might want to do, or you can try to get them all. It's going to cost you a few dollars. But we also, and that's been very successful. A lot of the places I go to now that I'm putting on a certification, I'll have the owner say, "Hey, I'm going to put some of my salespeople through it too, through the tech." They'll have to make, if it's carpet, they're going to have to make a seam. They're going to have to be the prettiest seam in the world, like we'd expect the installer to do. But they got to understand the construction of how to do the seam, and how the carpet is supposed to be stretched, and that is supposed to be sealed. So they're going through this, and so we have a tech program for salespeople. So like I said, yes, we are.
Do you guys have people like that will come over and help you stand up afterwards?
Oh yeah,
so I could probably.
I got a forklift out back.
I could probably install the flooring, but I just wouldn't be able to stand up afterwards.
Right, and so so that's been I actually had this young lady. They're a manufacturer of LVP, and out of China, and she came and went through. She come walking in, and was a petite little thing, and I'm like, "You're here for the installation class?" She goes, "No, I saw that you had it, and I came to learn it." So she went through we put her through the tech, and she said, "I want to know how our floors are being put down."
Oh, cool.
And, yeah. So that was somebody. She lives in New York. She handles the stuff from their China plants, and she lives in New York. So she heard about it, saw about it, and drove down from New York and with her mom, and they stayed in a camper. And she went to the class 2 days and went through and got her certification. So it's getting out there. And
most of the people that are listening to me are retailers, and
mm-hmm.
I think their interest would be in sending installers, and especially guys like Matt Garcia is developing plans so you can hire and maintain in-house installers versus a subcontractor. So I can see definitely if you want to go that route, you're going to want to get better training for those people. So give me an example of if I want to send guys to learn how to install carpet, can I send them for a specific product?
No, what you're going to do is going to be if you're let's say you're going to send some for carpet, and some come through on my phone, so I probably can't see you now. But anyway, if you're going to send for carpet, they have to start with the first level, which is R1 or C, which is residential one or commercial one. There's a lot of people come in that have better hand skills than that, but they have to. We have to start and move them up. It's just too much.
So regardless of their skill level, they got to start at the beginning.
They start at the beginning
of the training.
Correct.
So will they learn more advanced stuff the first time they come out, or are they going to have to come out multiple times?
They're gonna have to do it more than once. They're gonna have to do it. So
Okay.
and there's a reasoning for that is for us to control it a little bit better. You figure as an instructor, I got to decide in 2 days where the guy's level, and so to try to have all different things going at once and everything else, it's difficult. And in the beginning they used to do, you could go, and I went in and got my 4 levels, four of the 5 levels at one time. Problem is we had ones that were really getting by, that because there's people there and you're trying to see what's going on with all of them, you couldn't control it, and you really couldn't see what was really being done. And so there was people being passed that should never have been passed at that level. And it was hurting CFI's reputation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have somebody who walks in and he's 4 levels, and that was one of my big things that wanted to get changed, because when they came through my area the first time, there was guys that got 4 levels of CFI that I want to hire.
So and here's and here's why I'm surprised by that, because at any level it doesn't seem like the certification has the value other than them having the skill level, but to the consumer they don't look for it. In our industry, a certification is not required. There is no skill level that's required to get hired to install flooring, right? So it's difficult from a marketing standpoint for anybody to value that. But even there's not a whole lot of retailers, and this is kind of where it'd be interesting is having programs or developing it more for the retailers, so they understand to either hire a guy that is certified or hire a guy that you can get certified. So maybe you'll invest enough money in somebody to get them certified for them to continue working with you and increase the level of your installations. Because out here, I'm telling you, we hired nothing but, when I own the business and my son runs it now, it's subcontractors, and there's no certification or no authority figure saying that they are certified to do that kind of work.
Right. And with us, we want, I got a call from a dealer 2 months ago, and he said, and there was a dealer down south. He says, Roland, can you find me an installer that does commercial work? And I said, I can give me your area and I'll research and see what I can do for you. And he says, I had a guy that did a job, and he said he couldn't do it was a church, and he had to custom the platform, or custom around the steps. And he said he really botched it up. And then he said, and he was CFI certified. So I said to the guy, I said, well, what level was he? He said, what do you mean, what level was he? He says, yeah. I said, what level was he? So I don't know. I said, did you try to find out from us? So with him on the phone, to grab my other phone, you just heard ring, made a call to CFI and gave the guy his name, and it pops up. Well, he's an R1. That means he was residential 1. And so I told the dealer, I said, well, you sent somebody who was first level, the basic level of carpet on residential, to a commercial job that should have been a level 2. I said, you know, you asked the installer to do something he's not qualified to do. And so, yes, getting the word out that there's levels and you need to check that out is something that we're working on. We're working on a lot of things people don't realize, but that's one of the things we're working on is for dealers. You know, if somebody come into me and said, hey, you know, I'm a doctor, you know, and I'd go, well, what kind of doctor? You know, what kind of doctor are you? Can you do surgery or do you just take my temperature? You know,
so for just marketing purposes and the sake of this conversation, one thing I would love to see is them roll that out slowly and not in a way it's like we got to get everything done and set up properly. And it's like, okay, no, let's just do carpet. Let's for the next 3 months, let's talk to flooring dealers. Let's talk about certification. And if anybody needs any other product, we can talk to them about it. But for just from a marketing perspective, to talk about those different certification levels, the opportunity to get your guys certified, and then how you can utilize that to grow your flooring business. You know, and I'm always putting everything back into how you grow your flooring business. And I just think the organization, to me, this is my frustration, is I find that your organization and the CFI is so valuable, and it frustrates me that it doesn't have a bigger role in the industry, and maybe it has much bigger role than I realize. I'm just not involved at that level. But you know, it's hard to imagine. I've been in it as long as I have and don't really know anything about it.
It's really taken off a lot in the commercial realms.
Okay.
If you're going out bidding big jobs in the commercial realms, you'll see now in a lot of the specs, it'll say a CFI level 2 or equivalent, which means if the factory, the company, like Mohawk or something, you had went through their higher certifications at one time. They aren't doing them now. They all pushed them on us now, but at one time they did. So that would say CFI level 2 or equivalent. You have other manufacturers like Milliken. Milliken puts right in their thing. We recommend. Can't say you have to. We recommend using a CFI commercial 2 or higher installer. So it's really getting out there in the specs. We get called by companies saying, hey, can you come up here and get a certification for my guys? I bid this job and we just realized we got to have a level 2 certified commercial installer on this job. Residential, because you're dealing with consumers, that's not going to be as much. But a lot of the high end woven mills are now in the residential realms are starting to do the same thing. So we went after it sort of in that angle, saying, hey, if they're recommending that a certified installer put their product in, we'd love to say they had to, but that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That you have to have them. But in the commercial realms, on these big hospitals and schools and all that, they can, and that is happening now. So that's big for us, And there again, we realized that we had to change with time. We realized that things have changed. We had a new executive board, advisory board. It's called because WSCA has an executive board, so we have an executive board that we call advisory board. And we just had elections here at the beginning of the year, and we have a lot of new people on. Out of the 11 people on the board, only 3 of us are still in existence from the old board.
Okay.
It's a mixture. We have you've seen him on Jorge is on there. He's a young Hispanic guy. I would say the average age, if you took us 3 older guys, that's still there away. The other 9 are in their 30s and maybe early 40s, 30s, 20s. We have a brand new board, and the reason we did is we knew we had to reach to the younger kid. We had to reach to the Hispanic group. Everything we do now is written in English and in Spanish.
Yeah.
So we're out there. We just had these, and since we're on a Zoom, we just had these flyers made up that our chapters are going to be going around, and we're sending around and putting them in the dealer's hands. And it's a trifold CFI. You could be 2. It gives us a mission statement. It's a trifold. It gives all about the different stuff. We had these, and they're really, really nice. They're really good hit at the convention.
I'll tell you what I'd love to see is notices when there's a training coming up, when it is, what area, how much it costs, okay. and I'd love to see like a regular post or something saying, hey, we're doing it in this area. What if somebody wants to do a training in their area? Do you help some flooring dealers set up training?
I just personally did 2. I spoke at FloorCon, and I got a guy out of Georgetown, Kentucky, contacted me. I went down and we did a LVP laminate for certification, then took a day break and reset up and did a carpet certification, or the other way, carpet first, laminate next. Did one in Jacksonville, Flooring More store down there. Saw me speak, contacted me. I do that quite regular, and so CFI is where we're speaking at more dealer events. I spoke at I don't know if you heard of Haynes. Now they're called UCX because they merged and everything. But I spoke at their dealer summit, their elite dealer summit last year, and actually this year. And actually, they've already asked me to speak again at their one in March that they're holding at the National Harbor for all their dealers. So, we're getting in there and we're speaking at the dealer organizations and getting it out there, and, why to be certified, what the value it does for your store, what you can do for your store. Of course, I think I got some sitting here. Excuse me, let me pop here. I should have some here. No, maybe not. But we got, of course, we have the CFI stickers that can go on your door that says you're certified. I got another sticker that says certified installers work here with five stars across it. So there's many things that we realize we need to offer to the dealers to be able to give them the value of why you have your installer certified.
With the 4 main products, can you give me an idea what levels of certification there are? Like, how many levels are there with carpet?
Okay, carpet levels. There's now going to be 6.
Wow, really? 6?
Well, it was 5. You had your residential 1 and your residential 2. Then you had your commercial 1 and your commercial 2.
Okay.
All right. Now then you had what was called the master 2, which was, I think there's. Last I knew, there was 45 Master 2s in the country. It's a hard level. You guys got to know what he's doing, and really know what he's doing to go to that level. But now that we acquired NFIC is going to fit right in between the R1, R2, C1, C2, NFIC, then go to the Master 2, because NFIC is part of the Master 2, what that was done. And we feel that training is vital to help you obtain your Master 2 level. So
one thing that's hard to understand for a lot of flooring dealers, especially ones who were never an installer, is how complex it is, because it doesn't seem like it, right? So you think you guys go out there and Harry Potter everything and just get it done, and don't understand some of the complexities. So to have 6 levels just with carpet. And I remember we got into this debate or argument about what an installer wanted to charge for stairs. And just it was a real wake up call for me, saying that, I don't think that the flooring dealer is trying to undercharge you. I think that they really don't understand how hard it is and how long it takes to do it. It takes a whole day to do a flight of stairs, and carpet just doesn't seem. And I've done upholstery, but upholstering carpet is a whole lot harder than upholstering a sofa. So
yeah. So now it's been going out. We have a book called The Flooring Specialist. Real good book with a lot of educational in there. A lot of there's a contest from last year. It has a lot of articles in there, written articles and everything else. That's coming out on a regular basis now and getting published.
Yeah, I'd love to let people know where they can get that and sign up for it. And
yeah, they just do it there again. They can go to right now. To do it the quick way is to go to the CFI's website, which you hear all the time, and get that info. But we're putting that info out, and this once it gets signed up, this is a hard copy here, but we have a digital copy too that gets sent that you can, like all the magazines now do digital copies, so you can get signed up, and that digital copy there again goes out and link it in, go to the dealers, goes out in Instagram, goes out in CFI, out there to Facebook, and all that. So it's out there, and if they aren't, so they could see it on there. But there again, I'm in the trenches, and I mean, there's still a lot of installers out there that do not go on flooring sites. Not saying they don't go on the internet.
Yeah,
I'm saying, and there's a lot of them out there. Being Hispanic, doesn't matter.
Sure.
They aren't on there. They don't know anything that's going on. And you mentioned NWFA that you now got involved in there. They've never heard of NWFA. And the same thing with NWFA. They got levels. With us in CFI, we do pre-finish, beginner's level is what we do. That's the only level we do with wood.
I'll tell you, I get most of my clients come through YouTube. They're interested in growing their flooring business. And then when I'm talking to them, they didn't even know about the flooring dealer site. They didn't know it existed, flooring dealers more. So it really is something that, like you said.
Right. And we're working on a YouTube channel. So that's being worked on also. Because like I said, we brought these younger people in on our board, knowing that we needed to learn what the installers, what the people nowadays want.
Okay.
And so we believe in change. We had some that didn't before.
Now how many again, one thing I would love to see is it to be a little sexier as far as what the training is, and maybe having a name for the training. But so you gave me an example of carpet. What about luxury vinyl? How many levels are there? And is luxury vinyl and laminate a separate category, or is it trained the same?
When we first started, and there again, you live and learn. When we first started with the LVP laminate, it was LVP laminate and hardwood all together in the course.
Really? Okay.
And then we realized that we couldn't do it justice, and so especially I was going out to Arizona, out to Southern California, down to Florida. They never put nail down hardwood in. I mean, they just don't. So I was having guys come in there that do excellent work on LVP and the floating floors, but when we hit the portion of the nail down hardwood and the hardwood portion, they were lost because they've never done it, and never will. And so finally we realized, hey, we need to correct that, and we have Dave Garden written a new curriculum for that portion of it, and so now we have LVP, and we have it in laminate is together, and so we have the beginning level, and then we have an advanced level.
Okay.
All right, so we have two. We only have two
Two
levels.
levels. And then
Right?
what about hardwood? You
Hard,
how many
hard,
levels?
hardwood right now we only have one level. We have a curriculum for a second level. We just haven't really put it out there yet.
Now, if
And
you're an expert in hardwood, would it be better to be more involved in NWFA? Do you think they
what
have
I
a little more resources for hardwood?
well, what I tell installers that come through my hardwood, if I see somebody that has excellent skills and know they have excellent skills, I tell them, hey, it's good to have CFI. I'm a
Yeah.
believer in our program. I believe in what we do. I believe in our evaluation and what we do. But I tell them, listen, we don't touch sand finish. We aren't that. That's NWFA's territory.
Yeah.
We aren't doing the medallions and the borders and all that. That's NWFA's territory. So we push people to go to NWFA. So we recognize they're the ones. That's the same thing with ceramic. Is that we aren't the ceramic people. The
Okay.
one you talked about, your CTI, CTEF, and that they are the ceramic people. They're the ones that's the flooring they do. That's their expertise and everything else.
Yeah.
Did we have ceramic? Yes, we did. But are we the ceramic people? No, we're not. Okay. But is it good to have ours? Sure it is. But if you want that, get that elite on your name that you're known as get your CTI.
Right.
I just and there again, I know I posted it on your site. I just hosted a CTI at my location.
Okay.
And so here a few months ago. So when it comes to ceramic, to get your elite, who knows, whether things have changed, but that's who we send it to. Now, when you come to carpet, it comes to basic hardwood, basic ceramic. We can do that. When it comes to LVP, luxury vinyl plank, and laminate, the pergolas and that no longer exist. Those schools don't, and we're expert with that. When it comes to resilient flooring, your Mannington and Armstrong, who used to have schools, we've all been through that, us trainers, their schools, but they aren't doing them anymore. We have 3 levels. You got the beginner level with the rotovinyl, basically your residential. We got level 1 and 2 there. Then we got if they're just going to do the standard commercial, we got a level there. Then if you're moving into heat welding, we got a level 1 and a level 2 with heat welding. So we got a good many levels with your resilient also.
Now, are you guys involved at all with the FCEF?
We're their biggest trainers.
You are. Okay. So
we train more of their stuff. Like anytime they get a school, the one they had in Georgia, the one they had in Tomahawk, Iowa. Most of their schools at colleges they get in, a CFI trainer is one that comes in to do the basics. Then CTI will send somebody for the ceramic, NWFA sent somebody for the hardwood. There's been times they couldn't get somebody in from CTI or NWFA, and we've stepped in and took that class and put on that class for them.
Is there any idea how many people go through CFI every year? How many people you train a year? Do you have any numbers?
I can tell you last year we did just over 500.
Just over 500. Do you feel like the tide is turning and that you are starting to make a dent in what has been called the installer problem for a long time, or not having installers? Do you feel like we're starting to turn the corner a little bit on that? Like we're starting to
I
get
think
that going?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see some headway with that. There's still a long ways to go, but I think with FCEF, with what they're doing out there and getting into the trade trade colleges and
Yeah.
getting into that and you know then our local chapters we're starting to get into our CFI chapters are start to talk to the Votex and all that. One is John Steyer out there in Iowa. He's been going to the school there and putting on some day trainings to just get his foot in the door. So I think we're starting to, but we got to two things or more than two probably the electricians, the plumbers, the carpenters, and all that. They've been doing it for years,
Right.
and they're entrenched into these schools already. We got to get the leaders of these schools to understand that flooring's a trade. They never really thought about it being a trade.
Right.
So we got to get them to understand this is a trade, just like the other ones. Once we get them, we got to get into the schools and get the kids to understand they could make a good living at this as easy as much as they do in these other trades, and it's a good trade.
Yeah.
So that's where FCEF and even CFI is doing to get that to be these colleges and these schools to understand it. I think we're making a dent in that because you're seeing more and more schools pick this up. I talked to Jim Aaron from FCEF last week at the convention. He was there with a booth, and I can't remember how many schools he said, but we're at, but colleges that they're talking to. But I think it was in the 20 or 30 range. It could be more, but I'm thinking that's about the range that that they're talking to. So that's a big thing from only the one or two or three that they had for the last few years.
Yeah,
so,
and if you guys are listening and you own a flooring business, throw $100 a month towards FCEF. It's worth it. Really is the only organization that is doing the right thing about getting installers. If you're worried, if this is your career and you're worried about having installers, one of the biggest problems that Jim Aaron told me was it's just not on the menu. It's not that people aren't choosing it. They don't have it to choose from because they don't know anything about it. It doesn't exist.
Mhm.
And we have these conversations and a lot of people like to say, well, kids aren't doing it because it doesn't pay well enough. No, they're not doing it because they don't know about it. There's plenty of people who would choose this as a career, and it can be a good career. It can be a fun career. Unless I was watching The Blacklist yesterday, and the character said that he got a job installing flooring when he was a kid, and he wanted to quit after his first day, but his father told him to stick with it. He said it's the hardest 2 months of his life. So that wasn't a good commercial for us, but it really is. I mean, to be able to work with your hands and independently and be a craftsman, do something that will always be needed, always be a demand for flooring. There will always be a demand for flooring.
Yeah. So like I said, but I think, and I'm going to speak for the other ones to a certain degree. I think you'll find that the CTEF, which is your ceramic tile, and they're doing a lot of trainings. They're traveling around. They're realizing they need to get out there more. NWFA, if you look at their schedule, they're doing more. I think all of us organizations realize that we need to get out there and make our presence more. So
It
I
is.
think
It's such a massive industry. I mean, some of the things you're talking about, I've never heard of these organizations necessarily, wouldn't know what they do. And it really is fascinating how many there are. And one thing I would love to see a menu of is how many shows are there a year? Like how many different events and shows are there, from surfaces to individual shows from Mohawk and Shaw, and then the buying groups have their shows, and then all the CFI and NWFA, and you go on down the list. How many different shows
can't.
in the flooring industry could you attend?
That's what I'm saying. Even this year, I had to, between going out and doing certifications and trainings and the shows, I had to cut back some. My wife was even though it was last year, not this
Yeah.
year. I haven't counted them all up this year. I told my wife said, "Well, we didn't get a vacation this year." I said to her, I said, "Wait a minute, you were gone 12 weeks last year, over 12 weeks." She goes, "Yeah, but there were all the flooring things." I said, "You had a week in Amelia Island. You had a week in Orlando. You had a week in Nashville." Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I said to her, I said, "Well, you were gone because she's retired. She goes with me." And so it's like, what do you mean? You didn't, you didn't get a vacation. Sure, you did. Well, yeah, but you were doing stuff during the day. I said, "Yeah, that's what, so I could write it off on my taxes." You know, but yeah, there's a lot of shows. You could go show poor if you went to every one of them.
Yeah. It gets exhausting after a while. I mean, some of them are a blast to go to. I'm hoping to get to Shaw's event this year, and actually, I am signed up to go to the Shaw event this year. So I was hoping to get an opportunity to speak there, but definitely going to surfaces and going to NWFA.
Now, are
And
you speaking at services this year?
I'm looking at it. I'm not lined up to speak, but I'm looking at a class where I'd have to pay to be a speaker on one of the stages. So
Okay, okay, yeah, I didn't put anything in last year. I was so busy doing that stuff that I said to myself, this year I want to see this. You get yourself so tied up at services, you cannot see the show, and you go out there and you go, what did I do? What did I do besides, I mean, I was in with a couple other breakouts and did one on stage and
well,
did
and
put on a
I
tour and
I like to do videos of different products and share it with the audience that didn't go to the show, so I always have fun at surfaces and stuff like that because I'm always sharing stuff with people in our group that didn't come and didn't get to see it. And it's great content. I would love to go to CFI and go to a training and shoot some videos and talk about the stuff going on. And John Steyer is the one that started this whole thing. He's doing some of that.
yeah.
And he wasn't doing it as much as he would have liked, but I would shoot a different type of video than he shoots.
Well,
And
he had a little bit more responsibility this year since he's
yeah,
one of the younger people that's on the advisory board now, and so he had to be a little bit more uh, active as far as things that he had to be at.
right.
Uh, so his video and he has a lot he hasn't posted yet. He
Okay.
took a lot of videos. He's going to post them in moderation, he said.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, our CFI convention is open to anybody, retailer, deal, installer. It doesn't matter who you are. You can sign up and come to our convention. It doesn't have to be certified. You don't have to be certified to come. You're more than welcome to come to
I'd love to speak at one of them and just to talk to them about, especially the ones that want to sell and sell to the public. Could talk to them about marketing and about selling and about how do you figure out your pricing and things like that. So how to make it easy. But
Okay.
I think something
Well,
like that would be interesting. I love
yeah,
working with installers.
yeah. So
And there are people that are craftsmen and they're good at what they do, but they're not good at selling what they do. So it's just helping them use the right lingo and understand how to highlight your skills and show people what you do instead of just assume that they know or just assume that you do good quality. Let's show them, display how we are better. We're a better choice.
Yeah, but I think as to get back to what we're sort of talking about about the getting out there and getting people to know who we are, and like I said, all of the organizations. I think you'll see that we're finding more and more ways. Got a lot of younger people that got a lot of fresh and new ideas out there. And like I said, yeah, we might not get on the dealers' pages as much as we should or could. As far as the trainings, if you were on the other pages, for example, California, Southern California, with Efren and Eric, they've been putting on monthly, real quick, one day or one evening trainings for the installers out there, and they're doing very good at getting that out there. Our training certifications. I know when I'm going to go do a certification or I put one up, I know I put it out there on all the flooring sites, Floor Covering of America, all of them.
Yeah.
They can put out there. So we are putting out there that when we're having a training, when we're having a certification. The only ones we don't is if it's a private one. Let's say a dealer said, "Hey, I'm going to bring you up. I got 15 installers. I want to put it through." We don't do that because we don't want people trying to register on the one that they can't. They're not going to be able to get in.
I've asked Kyle about him posting on his podcast to the groups, and I can't remember how many groups he says he posts to, like 30 or 40 groups. Oh my God.
But even
I kind of play in my sandbox, and there's so many groups.
Even with Kyle, even though he posting all those, 30 or 40 different groups, there again, me traveling the country like I do, they have never heard of that podcast or never heard who he is. So so it's easy to say, "Hey, you're not getting out there," but there again, it's if the audience isn't coming on and looking for you,
I'm just saying that you're not getting out there to the only group that really matters on Facebook, and that's my group.
Yeah, and I'll have other people say the same thing. Right. I had the same thing. When are you gonna post in my group? But like I said, installers don't go on that group much, and I guess they are our main target thing. But we are reaching out now more and more to dealers as things go along, and knowing we got to get to everybody together. And we're the number one recognized CFI. No matter how you look at it, is as far as out there and been out there and has done the biggest dent in the industry as far as training. We're the most recognized with the manufacturers, the mills. They utilize us all the time. If you call a Mohawk or Shaw and say, "Hey, I need an installer in my area," first thing they're going to do is point you right to CFI.
And I would question too. It'd be interesting to see that the members that you have that are certified, how many of them are independent and how many of them work for other retailers. Because I just think there's a ton of installers working for retailers that don't know and don't get involved, where maybe the retailer would send them out there. And it might have to be special certification that retailers would, not a special certification, but special marketing to them, to speak to them, to talk about the value of getting your installers certified. Because I would think the retailer is more likely to pay to have their installer who won't take the time off and won't pay for it for themselves. But at least maybe if the installer will pay for it and get, or the retailer would pay for the installer to travel and to attend the class.
Well, that's another thing that we're working on as far as, because a lot of dealers, and not all, there's a lot of them that understand it, but the dealer to understand what CFI is. And so in their mind, they go, "Well, I'm going to send my guy to get certified, and he's going to go to a CFI event, and he's going to be told that he should that we should be paying him more money. He should be told he don't need us. You know, there's still a lot of dealers out there that have that thinking about us. And I'm not sending my guy because then somebody's going to steal him and he's going to leave me, and so I'm going to keep him here. Well, we're CFI. One thing we do is we don't talk about finances. Period.
Yeah.
That's one of our rules of our trainers are trained that if somebody asks you what should I be making, you just need to back off that and say, well, really, we can't set prices. It's something that you've got to do. We won't let any recruiting go on at any of our meetings or our certifications. If somebody comes to one and it looks like you're trying to recruit, we'll ask them to leave. And that was what with our local chapter, with my chapter here.
Yeah.
Our local is, and that's why having a local chapter, you can portray that to the dealers. The dealers all know here they can send somebody to one of Roland, Thompson, Delmarva chapters meetings, and there's not going to be any recruiting. There's not going to be talked about money, and my guy's going to get the education and come back and help me out. And so that's I guess a message going to the dealers that we're that's going to be listening to your podcast. That's one of the biggest things I want them to understand is that we don't let that go on. Our goal and our objective is to teach according to the industry standards, and that's how we teach, by the industry standards. So we certify by industry standards, not what CFI thinks or what Roland Thompson thinks, but what the industry says their product needs to be done. And we're
I want to give you a tagline for the group. Imagine if you train your installer and they leave you, or worse, what if you don't train them and they stay?
We use that in our meetings.
Okay.
we what to do with dealers. When we have dealers we're meeting, well, that's a tagline that's
right.
been used already. But so that's what we're about. We're about training and education and certification. Like I said, training's become a big thing. We have 1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks on all the different whether it's hardwood, carpet, wood, or whatever, all the different categories. We have the trainings for those. Yeah. Then of course we have the 10-week that's for that we come in and we cover 2 weeks of each one. So we have a lot of programs out there that can be utilized. And like I said, we can come to a dealer. If a dealer wants us to come to him, 15 people, and we'll close it and come straight to your location and put it there.
Yeah. And that's what I'd like to see. Like if a dealer wants to put something together, I'll help promote it too. And and we can promote on other installers or other forums to get more installers there if they're trying to get that 15 installers. So,
well, the one down there in Georgetown, I said I got from talking at FloorCon, him and 2 other dealers in the area got together and pulled in.
That's perfect.
And we had, between the two meetings, we had 26, 27 people.
Wow, great class. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. That was a lot of good information, and I look forward to seeing more. I've been talking a lot with John, and I'd like to see more information about it. I'd like to see it get out there, and I know it's a great program and it benefits a lot of people, both the installers and the retailers. I mean, and the consumers. Having that training is good for everyone. So I'd like to see that done more often, and then I'd really love to see it become a valuable commodity that is worth something when you're marketing to customers that they value and they want a certified installer. It'd be nice if we got to that point. No government regulation, but let's get to that point just from simple marketing, and I would show them that in creating sales presentations. I would show flooring dealers how to highlight the fact that yours are in-house. They're certified installers, how to point that out to your customers so you can close jobs at higher prices, which is always our goal, is to make sure that we're able to close a job, but not that we're the cheapest.
Yeah. So, yep. And we didn't argue.
What's that?
And we didn't argue. We had a
No.
civil conversation.
No, well, your wife called me beforehand and said she talked to you and told you that you had to be nice to me this time.
Yeah, she did. She said that just be pleasant. And
This time,
yeah,
that's boring. Next time we'll argue.
yeah,
That's a lot more fun.
All right, Gary.
All right, thanks for coming on.
Bye.
All right, bye now. Thanks for joining the Flooring Business Podcast. Now, if you'd like to have a one-on-one discovery call and learn how you can increase your profit and sales by over 30%, go to jerrylevinson.com and let's discuss where you're at and where you want to go. Don't forget to tune in next week where we have another great podcast with another flooring pro.